Hi there. Very good evening. Very good day to you, everyone. Uh, Today's lecture is about strategic marketing, and I'm your lecturer, Hazir. And let's go into the topic straight away. Now, there are two words in this topic. The first word is about strategy. The first word is about strategy, and the next word is about marketing. The word strategy, strategic management is very common in today's corporate world. If you take a business, if you take a corporate boardroom, we talk a lot using this word: strategic marketing, strategic human resource management, strategic finance management, strategic customer acquisition, strategic retention of employees, strategic production, strategic positioning. Every single activity you engage into, you use the word strategy. And this strategy is a Greek word, a crossover word from Greek to English. We use it in English, and we use that in any language you speak as well. Whatever the language you speak, you bring this word inside and you mix it with your language and you speak, because that is very common and that is very much applicable these days. And in the definition of marketing, strategic marketing, we made mention of 5 key values. The number one is about creating value of your services and products you sell. Whatever you sell, you create that services or product, and that has the value, because customers, they purchase the value, and that created value has to be communicated to your customers. That is the next part. And the following part is about the communicated value has to be delivered to your customer. So creating value, communicating that created value, and passing that on to your customer, that value onto your customer, is marketing. When you do this, you never sell this value to every single one you see down the road. You have your specific niche, specific set of people, because Apple is not for everyone, Samsung is not for everyone, Oppo is not for everyone, Microsoft is not for everyone, Facebook is not for everyone. They have set of people, they want that to be sold, they want that to be used, not for everyone. So Facebook is for someone, whereas LinkedIn is for someone else. iPhone is for someone, whereas Oppo is for someone else. Two different set of people. So this is what we call, we don't speak to every single customer down the road. When you go to the street, you may see loads of different varieties of people, and you don't speak to everyone. You speak to only whoever you wanted to sell your product to. That is what we call the specific niche. And those are the people you want to communicate and deliver this value to. And you do this value delivery at a profit, because we are talking about business. When you talk about business, we need to think about profits, right? Now, to do all of this, you have to consider one thing, meaning creating value, communicating value, delivering value for a niche, for a profit, or at a profit. Who does this? If I ask you a question, who does this? Who creates value? Who decides what value do you create? Who determines what value you communicate? Who determines what value do you deliver? Who determines your niche and the profit that you make? You would say, that is me, that is my company, that's my strategic team, that is my marketing team. Not at all. Who decides, who determines it? It is your competitor. Who determines what you create? Apple creates the latest iPhone. Who decides it? The competitors. Based on the competitor's product only, you place your product in line with it as a counterpart. Otherwise, you can't sell it. When McDonald's make one burger, the Burger King has to make a burger in line with it. You can't make a burger in isolation of your competitor. Nobody would buy it. So there is no strategy at all. You make it alone in absence of your enemies, of your competitors. So I talked about the definition, what marketing is about: creating value, communicating value, delivering value for a specific set of people for a profit. when you're doing all of these things, you have to maintain or you have to consider certain strategies. That strategy is totally determined by your competitors. Take an example here, a military strategy principle. This is what it is. Now, when you set a military strategy to fight your enemies, you never set your strategy the way you like. You always dig into the strategies of your enemies. How many of them? How big are they? How strong are they? What artilleries, what weapons, what guns do they have? And how strong are they? How weak are they? Where are they strong at? Where are they weak at? What is their intention? What is their strategic plan? Every single thing you get to know. Based on that only, you set your strategy. Otherwise, you are committing suicide. The same thing applies in your professional business. Business is an intellectual war where you have to make your strategy to sell your things in line with your competitors' strategy. Okay, so that is very important. Now, when you set your strategy based on the competitors' strategy, you have to consider mainly three things. Number one, I'm calling it research-based view. I'm sorry, resource-based view. What is that? Resource-based view means resources. Every organization in this planet, every country in this planet, every government in this planet, they have certain resources. It can be the government of US, it can be the government of Germany, it can be the government of India, UK, whatever the countries. That government, massive, they have loads of resources. However, they are not self-sufficient in terms of every single resource. That is why one country is interdependent on the other country. We have certain resources, whereas the others have some other different resource. So we exchange, meaning companies, organizations, doesn't matter how big you are, how established you are, how old you are, how experienced you are, you have short supplied resources or certain resources, there's nothing at all. So you have short supply of resources. That is the basic principle of resource-based view. Companies, they have resources that is short supplied. But you have supplied with certain resources anyway. Some of the resources are available to you. Based on the resources, you have to capitalize, you have to sustain your business, developing a unique selling proposition. That is what the second definition. What is that one? Unique selling proposition is about. Unique means one thing in the planet, only one thing. There is no more copies or duplicates of it. That's the original. That uniqueness or unique selling factors of an organization, that's the reason why people buy it. Okay, I read some articles today. People buy Apple for certain unique reasons. Number one, the privacy. It is difficult to hack an Apple iPhone. It's difficult. So your privacy is very much secured. That is one reason. Apple phones are very user-friendly. iOS, very user-friendly, very straightforward, very simple, simplicity. The brand, the design, the innovation, these are all unique selling prepositions of Apple. These are the reasons why people buy it, and nobody buys Apple because it is cheap. It is cheap. No, it is not cheap. It is expensive. So you pay the price for Apple to buy it for different reasons. That is what we say. You have limited resources. Based on the resources, you develop your unique selling proposition, and then that is unique. Customers, they buy for that reason because they can't buy that same thing from somewhere else for the same reason. Okay, now when you discuss this further, this is a smart car made out of Mercedes-Benz plant. This is Mercedes smart car. Now there's another orange color car. That car is from Tata Nano. You have 4 seats in here. You have the front seat and the rear seat. In smart car, you have the driving seat and your one passenger seat on the left side or right side of your driving seat. Now, if you take these 2 cars, the price difference is initially Ratan Tata released this Tata Nano car about 12, 13 years ago for Indian rupees 100,000. Whereas Benz has released the same kind of car, 2 passengers or 1 passenger at the same period. In the same period, the car was around 7 to 10,000 sterling pounds in the UK. Now, if you compare the price difference in here, if you buy one smart car, that same price can buy about 7, 8 Tata Nano cars in India. The message is this Mercedes-Benz cars or Mercedes-Benz, this company doesn't know how to make a car for this cheaper price. They don't know. That is why their cars are costly, but Tata, they know it because they have certain resources. They have oversupplied cheap labor. That's a benefit that the Mercedes-Benz doesn't have that. And Tata Nano has cheap resources in India because big country, loads of resources, and they're all cheaper. You don't need to import all the materials you wanted. It's cheap supply of materials. And the tax hourly rate of it, the rental of your plants and so on, energy, all are cheaper so that you can build cars for much cheaper when you compare that to Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes-Benz doesn't know how to make that car. So this is where we talk about the resource-based view. Mercedes-Benz doesn't have a resource to build car for the price of Nano. Same thing applies if you go to Apple. iPhones, they make iPhones and their phones are expensive. They don't know how to make Nokia 3310, Samsung Vaio, double SIM, dual SIM. It is about $15, one Samsung dual SIM phone. That cheap phone is about $15. Whereas Apple's cheapest phone is about $2,000 or sterling pounds. Because Apple doesn't know how to make those cheap kind of phones. Again, it's because they don't have the resources to make those kind of cheap options. Okay, so based on the resources only, we build our strategy. Apple can build a strategy to sell that. It is not about the pricing, it's about the design, it's about the brand, it's about the innovation, it's about the user friendliness, things like that. And Samsung built the phone in different unique selling proposition. So those are the two keywords or two key areas that we consider when we build our strategic plan to produce and market our services and the products. Now, with that, when I say strategic marketing, competitive advantage is very important. You sell certain strategy that will give you an advantage over your competitors. There are people, they sell the same thing as you, and they want to sell that to the same set of customers of you as well. So you're going to compete with them to get the same customer. So you have to have some competitive edge that get the customer easily to purchase yours over your competitors. And when you set your strategy, always your value changes. What you value today is not valuable tomorrow. Now, if I tell you a good example to this, most of you have your good experience. Now, you see, you're getting married tomorrow and you have got your partner now. If I ask you, how is your partner? You would say, amazing. I've never seen a person like this, either girl or a boy, whatever, or whoever you are. Maybe the girl you're going to marry, you would say, amazing, I've never seen such thing. Because today's value of that particular person is certain amount. Now, if I ask you tomorrow, you would say, yeah, yes, the value, yes, fine. And if I ask you after 2, 3, 4, 5 months, you would say, if I ask you after about 2 years, you would say, that is basic. Every single woman is the same because the value changes. What you value today is not valuable tomorrow. The same thing applies when you develop a product. When you apply a strategy to develop your product, you give a value to that today. And that value has its own weakness, which is the perception of the people that changes, and the value has to be changed continuously forever. So that when we set our strategy, the strategy is not static, not permanent, not bold, not strong as it is. It has to have some flexibility to move over and over to get some new look to that. So that is the value change. And because the market is drifting, you know the meaning of drifting. Drifting means you have a plan to move on with certain idea, and that idea you make initially today doesn't work tomorrow. So you have to drift your idea from that idea to some other so that you can move on. So your market is not static, not permanent, not stable. It is volatile, ever changing, so that you have to drift your strategy accordingly. And always when you set your strategy, you set that for long term. Okay, you don't have a strategy for tomorrow's survival. Okay, you have to have a strategy minimum 3 years and maximum 10 years at least. And if you have a real great strategy to market your product for 10 years, if you do that, you can close your business, sell that business for a higher price, and you can easily retire early, because 10 years of right strategic plan and strategic marketing plan, you would be a billionaire in terms of dollars. It's easy. Most companies, they do that because average, based on the researches we have done, I have read, in fact, that says a company, if you have the right strategy for 10 years, that company will be worth billions of dollars. And after that, you can retire, hand that hustle to someone else, look after the business, run the business, pay me the money. You take your business money, the price of your business, and you go home, retire early. So we have to have this concept in mind, your research-based view, your USP, unique selling proposition, your long-term vision on your marketing strategy, and the idea about the value change of your customers, of your product. Now, look at this. This is what I was talking about, the research-based view. You know this couple, very famous couple, celebrities in celebrity industry anyway, and Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas. Now, the problem is this guy is about 10 years younger to this girl. Okay. Now, in many cultures in the world, always the boy is 10 years, 2 years, 3 years elder to the wife. That is how the setting is. That's how the culture is. So in this case, Priyanka has made her available, or made her strategically attractive to this guy. And again, the story says that was Nick approached her to get married to her, not her approached him, but it is him. It was him. However, she was seductive, or she was attractive to him in some term. If you take the age difference, that is other way around, and that is your shortage of resource. You don't have the age resource in here. That is short supply. However, you had your wealth, still had your beauty, you still had your seductive look, you still had your market of this Bollywood model, all these industries that you are into, and your popularity, your endorsement deals that you do. Based on all these things, you manage to attract this guy. This guy is also not no one. He is a big, well-known guy in his industry, by the way. So this is what it is. You may have certain resources oversupplied, whereas you definitely have certain resources supplied in short, or maybe not supplied at all. So you rely on what is inside in terms of your resource. Based on that, you build your strategy and you attract your customer to purchase from you. Right. Look at this. I'm going to start with this definition. The first part of your marketing is about strategical creation of value. You create value strategically. When you want to create value strategically, let me take a few examples in here. Apple. Apple's value is, if you purchase Apple, okay, You buy a mobile phone, you buy an iPad, you buy a laptop or a MacBook or a computer, maybe a remote controller for this Mac television. You see those gadgets or those devices have only got one button. Your iPhone in your hand, it has only one button, maybe two buttons, and that is it. If you take a remote controller of a television, it has one or two buttons in it. Okay, now Steve Jobs, he looked into the mobile phones around. He looked into BlueBerry or BlackBerry, in fact, BlackBerry phone. It was a big company before Apple, from Canada. That company went out of business. It's because Apple sent them home. Bye bye, see you later. Don't come to the market again. It's because BlueBerry had multiple buttons in the phone, whereas iPhone has only one button. You own the button, phone is ready to go now. And how many ever buttons you want, you put them in terms of apps inside. If you want only one or two apps, you only keep those, nothing else. If you want 450 apps, you can keep 450 buttons. That's up to you, not up to Apple. This is the value, simplicity. Apple's success is because simplicity, so simple, very user friendly. So Steve Jobs called his engineers and said, I want a phone with one button, not 25 or 35 buttons like BlackBerry. Engineers said, how can I make one? He said, let me make it in my garage, and he made it. Okay. And Apple's value is about its brand. If you have a brand, if you have an iPhone in your hand, you are the man, because it's difficult to afford one. It's difficult. It's financially hard to afford one, the latest iPhone. In fact, the country you live in, it's difficult. Okay, but if you have one, you have the brand in your hand, because you associate with. When you keep those phones, you keep them on the table wherever you do the business deals. When you're doing a lecture, you keep it on your podium to show it to your students that I'm having an iPhone, I'm using an iPhone, and so on. But if you have a Samsung phone, you never show it to the public. You keep it inside your pocket. Why? Because it's not a big brand. And innovation, in terms of innovation, Apple's value is about innovation and the design. When you talk about designs of iPhones and designs of iPhone's packaging materials, the iPhone's body, the device, the edges of them, the designing of the curves and the bends of the body of that iPhone, that is the imitation or copy or lesson learned from the European cars. Apple admitted this. They looked into European cars, Volvo, those kind of cars, and they took the idea from those cars to design the edge of those phones perfectly. So that is about the device. When they deliver that to you, when they deliver the iPhone to you, the packaging they have, they copied that from the food packaging of Japanese food companies, because that's how neat it is. That is how clean it is. That is how hygienic it is. When they pack foods in Japan, they used the same strategy to design the iPhones, MacBooks, iPads, and their devices. These are the reason why we pay Apple. We want to buy Apple, because they create value like this. If you take BMW, again, the BMW, we buy that because the ultimate driving machine. BMW is about the design, the brand. It is not a car. When BMW goes inside, when the car takes a bend, you see the car, wow, what a car. When the car takes the bend, you want to see who is turning the steering, who is holding the steering inside, and you just bend your body and see, wow, what a girl inside the car that way. That's not a car, that's BMW. Okay, and BMW is about design as well, and you pay for that value. You pay for that value. And if you take restaurants, fast food industry, I've taken Nando's. Nando's is giving food. It's expensive when you compare that to McDonald's. McDonald's one burger meal may cost you $2.99, whereas Nando's, the same thing would cost you $9.99. It's because certain differences there. Now, McDonald's, they charge you less and they give you speed services. If you want to buy one McDonald's, it's easy. Just walk inside, go to the counter, go to the checkout and say, I want a Big Mac burger meal, please. No, I need a cheeseburger meal, please. I need a quarter pounder meal, please. Whatever you want to just tell them, they'll deliver it to you. What's the price? $2.99, $3.99, $5.99. That is cheap. Okay. And that's the reason why cheap is the value. Price, cheaper, value, speed, fast, very quick, that's value. And availability. Nando's doesn't open the restaurant till 11 o'clock in the morning in most cities, but McDonald's is open at 6 o'clock to serve you the breakfast, and they shut at the end of the night, late night, maybe early morning, 1:30 to 3 o'clock, because to serve you when you come from the bar totally drunk, too hungry, and you want to have a burger. So you walk inside McDonald's at 1:30, they'll still serve you. Availability. And if you go to any part of the world, if you want to have a burger, McDonald's, it is available to you. You Google, take your Google map, or there may be an app for it. You just Google it, you would find a McDonald's within about maximum 2-3 kilometers. It's about 5-10 minutes of drive. You will still be having the same taste of McDonald's around the world, but the Nando's doesn't have it. And sometimes you consider it is convenience to walk inside the store. Sometimes you don't. You won't sit down in your car, but you want to purchase the food in one window. You order the food in one window and you pick the food on the other window through the drive-through. And that is again another value. You go to McDonald's over Nando's because it's easy drive-through. Okay. However, Nando's, they charge more money. That is not worth it for you. But the Nando's sauce, I have heard people talking about Nando's chicken barbecue sauce adds a unique thing that you can't have it in McDonald's. For that reason, maybe you go and you go there. It's because the waiter services that the McDonald's doesn't give you a waiter service. You have to go to the table. You have to go to the cashier. You have to pay for it. You have to get the food in your hand. You have to walk to the table with the tray. You sit down, you eat, and ultimately you clean your table as well. There is no law that you have to clean, but discipline-wise, we clean. We drop the things in the tray liner inside the bin, and we leave the tray on top of the bin, and we walk off. But the context of Nando's is not like that. They assign you a waiter. She looks after you, or he looks after you. You are her or his guest. They treat you well with smiling face. They ask you, how can I help you? What can I do for you? What would you like? And what is the food? Do you like this dish, or can I change this dish? They serve you in better way, whereas McDonald's doesn't do that. That is again another value that you could purchase from Nando's. For that, you pay extra premium price. And again, in McDonald's, most of the foods they sell, burger, all the patties, all the Rogan Josh, all the delis they sell, all the whatever the food they sell, they are all pre-cooked. They are half cooked already. Bun is totally cooked. They just toast the bun. The patties are already half cooked, and you have to cook the remaining part of it. Chicken is already pre-cooked, and you have to fry it a little bit more, things like that. But if you take Nando's, the barbecue is freshly made in the grill before your eyes inside the lobby. So for that, you pay for it. So Nando's has different value, whereas McDonald's has something different to that. So whoever they value the value of these two different things in different way, whatever they prefer, they pick it for themselves. That is what the value difference in between these two restaurants are. And again, if you take football, it's an industry, by the way, big money. You know, the last FIFA World Cup in Qatar, that exchanged billions of dollars of money from hand to hand in terms of loads of business involved in. And it was a big investment for Qatar. They built the whole country to host this World Cup. And we know the season. It was so massive business. And now these days, IPL is going on in India. We call this the money-rich Premier League in the world. Okay, you can see it's a big business. Loads of, I would say, multiple billions of dollars are getting exchanged hand to hand because the business that takes place. Now, if I take football here, We take two players whom you know. One is David Beckham from England, retired player, and Cristiano Ronaldo from Portuguese. These two players, he's still playing. He played the last World Cup. We don't know his future for the next World Cup. He's a little old now. He's about to retire. Now, based on his abilities he made in the game, Saudi Arabian Football Organization or Federation offered him multiple thousands of dollars, billions of dollars to play with Saudis, to transfer his skills to Saudi footballers. Okay, and now the value of Beckham is this: he usually stay in the central midfield, and he is the central midfielder of England, right central midfielder, in fact. And if you make a foul play in that area, when the company is into free kick, when the team is into free kick, if you call Beckham to make the free kick, you can pick the ball from the goalpost. He knows how to do that. That is the value. If you put David Beckham in central midfield point, if you have a misplay from your opposition, definitely you can expect a goal from for England. The same thing applies winger, striker, Cristiano Ronaldo. If he has the ball in his leg, doesn't matter how your defenders are, that is very likely Portugal can get a goal. And that is how his value is about. These guys, they communicate these values in the ground to the audience. Look at me, I can make this free kick. Look at me, if you give me the ball, I can kick the ball inside the goalpost. Doesn't matter how many is resisting me, how strong your defenders are, I can get through and I'll kick the ball inside the goalpost. You pick the ball from the goalpost and the keeper has to get up from the floor. Okay, so this is the value. This is the value we create. So different companies, different individual businesses, they create certain values so that it is valuable for a customer. Now, another idea of making value. This is an older idea. 13 years ago, roughly, Domino's started this build your own pizza. On the website, you usually, what you do, you go to the website and you order one pizza. You click whatever the options you have available and you finish it off. Otherwise, you call them, hello, hi, I'm calling from this city and this is my address. Can I have a pizza, please? And they tell you, okay, what toppings do you want and so on. And they say, okay, 40 minutes or free. Now, this concept was you go to the website, you pick the pizza type you wanted, you pick the size of your pizza, you pick the sauce of your pizza, you pick the toppings on it. Is it garlic? Is it prawn? Is it chicken? Is it ham? Is it whatever? You decide that. Every single thing you click, when you click it, you would see the picture of the pizza that you're going to eat in a while. Then you click the order is placed. Again, you can track from the same website where the pizza is. When the pizza enters the oven, you will get to know. When the pizza take an exit from the oven, you will get to know. When the pizza exit the store towards your home, you will get to know. And when the pizza is on the road, wherever the junction that is stopping over, you will get to know every single thing. Finally, when the pizza boy delivers the pizza to your hand, you can track it up to that point. That is having a value. Again, the Domino's says, if we can't deliver it within 40 minutes, the pizza is free for you. There's a value added service in here. For this value, you buy Domino's. And more example, you see, Air Asia, in fact, and Lufthansa, both of them are in the same industry, aviation industry. They carry commercially passengers on board from one country to another, from one destination to another destination. Fine. Now, the value of Air Asia is, if you want to fly Air Asia, you can. The value is, we give you the seat for cheaper price. It is easy for your pocket. That's the value. That is why Air Asia seats are always almost full. Okay, there are so many people, they can't afford bigger price, so that they go for a cheaper budget option. And Air Asia is one of those. And Air Asia, they add value to your wallet. Your wallet doesn't get damaged. But if you choose Lufthansa, your wallet get damaged, but your life doesn't get damaged, because they give you a value of assurance for your life. They say, we never land in between. We are safe. We are reliable. You have to fly us, and we give you that value. So whoever you worry about your life, your security, you're safe, you fly Lufthansa. Whereas whoever you worry about your money, you fly Air Asia. Two different values. So whoever value life, you go to Lufthansa. Whoever value money, you go to Air Asia. Air Asia doesn't give any assurance for your life, whereas Lufthansa gives it in a different way. Now, having said all of these examples, I have an idea here to communicate. Now, you see, the conventional marketing is this, the traditional marketing is this, you simply sell what you have. And the strategic marketing is you sell that same thing, adding certain flavors. So this is macaroni, you put the cheesy macaroni in here. So you sell the cheese with some macaroni for a higher price. And this is a plain basic car, and this is a modified same car. So you can sell that for a higher price. This is conventional marketing, and the modified car sales is strategic marketing. And to do this, you have to look into your research-based view. Can you modify this car? Do you have the resources? Can you make this cheese into a macaroni, cheesy macaroni? We have resources for it. Right. So that's the first part of it, creating value. The second part is about communicating the value. How do you, because you may have some good value, and if the customers don't know you have certain value, who's going to buy it? So we need to have some people to buy this. So you have to communicate this to your customers. How do you communicate? Apple communicates through advertisements, through YouTube commercials, little things, maybe one blog, maybe one little commercial advertisement on a famous television, things like that. Apple doesn't spend much on television or much on advertisement, because Apple has to only say the next version of your iPhone is released. That's all, because customers are waiting outside, because the brand value. Okay, it's not like other companies. Other companies, when they make it, they have to communicate lots of message, convince customers, go behind customers and tell them that, come and buy me, please. And Apple says, that's the product. It is available. Go and buy. The order. Go and buy. Take your phone. Go home. If you have the older phone, trade in. If you have older phone, sell that to the second-hand market and go and take your new one. That's all. Samsung said, can you please come and buy me? Oppo says, can you please come and buy me? Okay. So they communicate in a way. And BMW, they communicate their value using Formula Plus. Okay, there are so many race courses, BMW Motorsport, BMW M Motorsport. There is a race competition where they can communicate the value of these cars to the customers. They can give this car for a test drive. You can look into this and you can drive this and experience your BMW, so that they can communicate the value. Look at the car, how nice it is, how smooth it is, how easy it is to drive, how comfortable. Do you feel the pain? Do you feel like you are staying in a car? How speed it is, and do you feel the speed? Things like that. And they may make some advertisements as well. So that is how they communicate. McDonald's, they communicate through advertisements, through CSR projects, Ronald McDonald's, and there are so many things. I have just picked one or two here to explain the way they communicate. They may have multiple channels to communicate this message, and they all select those strategically based on the research based value as well. And these guys, footballers, they communicate their values to the customers, to their endorsement deal companies, to their target market, to their audience in the ground. They kick the ball and show, look at me, I'm the man. I kick the ball like this. You have to do deals with me. I can convince customers to purchase from you. They may tell Nike, hello Nike, I've done this goal today and I can make goals like this. There are so many young footballers, they want to play football and they want to wear Nike shoes. And if you want them to buy, let me tell them to buy, endorse the deal with me. I'll tell them to buy. You will have multiple thousands of billions of dollars in your pocket. Pay me 10% of it, 20% of it. That's a deal. So they communicate their value. If I tell these young footballers, they would buy your shoes, and I have to tell them, so you have to pay me. They communicate the message, and that's value. Now, if you take BMW example, I'm talking about the third part of it, delivering value. We have covered the creation of value. We have covered the communication of value. Now I'm talking about delivering value. And I say delivering value, you have to get this BMW car delivered to your customer. So you need to have loads of things in place. If you take the UK BMW market, they have 149 dealers in 141 cities. In London, there are 3 dealers. In some other cities, there are 2 dealers. In many cities, there are 1 dealers. So they have 149 dealers in 141 cities in the UK. And they cover the whole country, any part of your country, any city of your country. If you want to buy a car, it may be about 20-30 kilometers drive from wherever you drive, the maximum distance you could drive to pick your car. So coverage and the transportation of this car. Sometimes if you order the car, there are ways to order your car online as well. They send the cars to you with 0 mileage. So they don't drive the car. They have vehicles to carry the car. They unload your car in your garage and the 0 mileage. Okay, you open the car, you start the car first, and you drive the car. And they have enough inventory. They have the 24/7 support. And if you have an older car, you can trade that in. If your car is 3 years old, you bring the car back again to us. We take it back and we give you a brand new car. Trade in. That is again deliver value. And they have AA support, Automobile Association, meaning the breakdown recovery support. If the car goes wrong somewhere in the middle of the road when the weather is freezing, you just stay in the car. Within 10 minutes, we send our assistants and you can go home safe. We'll get your car sorted and we'll deliver that car back to you within 24 hours. These are all delivering value. For these reasons, people want to buy BMW. Okay, so this is what we call delivering value. So we talked about creating value, communicating value, and delivering value. And finally, we are talking about the niches. When I say niche, niche is about, as I told you before, Rolls-Royce is not for everyone. iPhone is not for everyone. Same thing applies. Micromax, Oppo, Lava, Samsung is not for everyone. Every single company has its own customers, has its own niche. Okay, so whatever the value you create, whatever the value you communicate, whatever the value you deliver, you need to know who you are delivering this to. That is what the niche is about, because you can't sell one thing for every single one, because people have different tastes, different affordability. They value different things in different terms. For example, let's say if you study a master's degree in a university for the first time in your family is so amazed. They say, wow, my son has an admission to study his master's degree in Harvard Business School. Fine. Whereas there are families, from that family, 25 graduates graduated from the same faculty, studying masters in business administration, MBA, and then they have already passed out and they're into their businesses now. Now, if you bring this message to them, that is not that worth it for them. For them, it's nothing valuable because they have already experienced that value. This time they want a different university, maybe Stanford, maybe Oxford, maybe Cambridge, and you do some PhD in business, not a master's. That may be valuable to them. So people have different amount of value for different things. So this is why when you have your value created, when you have your things ready to sell, you need to communicate the message to the right niche, right set of people, right specific set of people. That is when the message will communicate the value to them. And you do this at a profit, If you don't have the profit, all those things you do, creating value, communicating value, delivering value, is waste of your time, waste of your energy, waste of your resources. So we are talking about business in here. So that we need to do all these sort of things for a profit. And that's the last line of your definition, creating value, communicating value, delivering value for a specific set of people at a profit. Now, your homework, you all, or most of you might be working for a company, or otherwise you may have some first-hand access to the information of certain companies around you, or maybe you have an intention to start a business for your own. For any of these organizations, your organization you work for, or otherwise the organization you know, otherwise the organization you have in your mind to start for your own, the question is, what is the value creation strategy of a business of your choice, of this business? What is the value they create? If you can analyze this, you can understand few companies, maybe you take Microsoft, high-tech companies, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Facebook, those kind of companies, have a look at the value, what value they create for their customers. Study those so that you can figure out one for yourself, and what value they communicate. Otherwise, how do they communicate the value strategically to their customers, and how do they deliver it? And finally, what is the niche they communicate that to, they deliver that to, they create that to? If you can study all these four in detail, spending about 40 hours in your learning time, analyzing cases, there are so many companies around, multiple companies around, look into some big companies, look into some multinational companies, look into some local companies around you, look into some different industries, pharmaceutical industry, construction industry, high-tech industry, whatever the industry we are talking about, look into all those different industries and study the value, the communication, the creation, the delivery of all of those companies, and compare those, figure out one for yourself. I'm actually delivering this course for you because my idea is not to work for an organization as a slave. My idea is to recommend you to start a business, because an MBA you study from any university, the intention of MBA is run a business for yourself, or otherwise you run a business for some others. It is not for you to work for a business under someone else, because the business you do, that is your permanent stuff. When you die, you can pass that on to your kids. But when you work for an organization, doesn't matter how positioned you were, you may be in the C-level executive position, you may be the CEO, CFO, CMO, CCO, whatever the position you were. When you demise, before your funeral takes place, you will be replaced by someone else, by the company, because that job cannot be passed on to your kids. But if it is your business, you can pass that on to your kids, and that is a great asset for your family members. Thank you very much for joining me today in this lecture, and we have further lectures coming in the future. Please join us. Very good night. Thank you.